To get us started, please welcome the Denaya Dance and Drum Company for a performance of African drumming and dance, followed by the traditional Chinese drumming and lion dance performed by Lion Dance Me. All right.
To really appreciate this moment. When I was growing up in the city, I always have a story, clearly, but when I was growing up, I remember having these great assemblies. I went to Galileo High School, and we would have these wonderful assemblies where not only the students would perform and be a part of the program, but also we would bring in a number of outside individuals who would help to educate us about why something was significant or why something was important to a culture. And we grew up in San Francisco learning that, learning the significance of one another's culture, having friends of different races, and really, you know, sometimes joking about, but also appreciating the differences that exist. It's what makes San Francisco so special. We always hear people talk about our diversity being our strength, and our diversity truly is our strength. You know, how we learn from one another, how we grow together, how we're able to appreciate one another's performances or fashion or whatever it is, because I'll tell you, you always see me, especially during Lunar New Year, wearing some amazing, mostly Chinese-inspired outfit. It's because the clothing is so beautiful, so bright, and so festive, and it just puts a smile on my face.
To see these two incredible groups of drummers and dancers performing one following the other. This truly reflects the spirit of this joint celebration. And before we move on to the next amazing performance, this is a good time to learn something about these two annual cultural celebrations in the Asian American and African American communities. To tell us more about Black History Month, we're delighted to have with us Al Williams, President of the San Francisco African American Historical and Cultural Society and Chairman of its Board of Directors. And following Mr. Williams, you'll hear from Justin Hoover, the Executive Director of the Chinese Historical Society of America, who will share with us the tradition of the Lunar New Year celebration. Please welcome Al Williams and Justin Hoover.
So I'd like to read a couple of notes. Something from a blogger from the Mechanics Institute who wrote something about the history of the Black History Month, and then Dr. Lonnie Bunch, who is the founding director of the African American Museum, the National African American Museum. The blogger from the Mechanics Institute wrote back in 2012, the Black History Month Mechanics Institute blog notes that while the Mechanics Institute is the oldest known library that still exists in these parts, Gold Rush era San Francisco actually had several libraries that predate the Mechanics Institute. The Mercantile Association, the first established library, was founded in 1853. The Mechanics Institute, with whom the Mercantile merged in 1906, was founded in 1854. But this gentleman had recently discovered that another library predated its doors, opened its doors just before they did. The San Francisco Athenaeum and Literary Society could very well have been the first circulating library in the West. It catered to a small but growing black population of San Francisco. It was a meeting place for African American men and women from all echelons of the San Francisco society. The Athenaeum Library Reading Room and Saloon, it had a saloon in it, though not listed in the San Francisco City Directory, were housed in a two-story building in Washington and Stockton. He goes on to say that its notable library consisted of some 800 volumes and periodicals from around the world, and within its first year, it boasted 70 members and receipts of $2,000, a remarkable achievement considering that African American community of San Francisco was less than 400 people in 1850. While the Athenaeum's existence was relatively short-lived, its spirit went on to form the San Francisco African American Historical and Cultural Society. So we're the lineal descendants of that institution that was created back in the 1850s. No one is, Dr. Bunchton goes on to say that no one has played a greater role in helping all Americans know the black past than Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson believed his role was to use black history and culture as a weapon to struggle for racial uplift of all people.
My name is Justin Hoover. I'm a Chinese American. I'm a son of a Chinese immigrant from Taiwan and an American father. And I'm very honored to be here. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mayor Breed. Thank you, everybody who put this together, Claudine. And you have to look at one of the biggest, what's the biggest thing that you guys know for the Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year? What do you guys think when you think about that? The parade, right? The parade. The dragon, exactly. Now, when was the first dragon that you know of? I had a slide of the first dragon. Can we pull that slide up? No? Okay. Anybody know the first dragon? Like what was? There we go. All right, there we go. Look at that old dragon. I love this dragon. The dragons have been around here for a long time, as long as Chinese immigrants have been here. So we heard from Al, there are 480 in 1850 African Americans. Is that right? So I don't know the 1850 date, but in 1960 we had 59,000 Chinese in San Francisco County. All labor, mostly men. 27 to 1 percentage men to women at the time. Now, they're here for labor as a force for mining, for everything else. In the 60s, obviously, it became railroads. But a lot of this also came with the traditional celebrations of the dragon and the lion dance, right? But within that is martial arts, is movement arts, is musical arts, is weapon arts, you know. But what's also in that is an opportunity to say to the white community, hey, this is a chance to take your money. And I'm not making that up. That was written in the goals of the Chinese American community in the 1909 Portola Parade, when they thought, let's rebuild Chinatown, but we need money, and we need an opportunity for Chinese Americans and white Americans to come together through business development and community building, community growth. Lookton Eli hired white architects to come up with the Chinatown plan that we know today, all of the kind of what some people call stereotyping representations of architecture. Other people call them attractive decorations. You know, you'll say what you will. We can debate this. That's fun. But the idea is it's a time to celebrate building bridges. And that's what I see as the Lunar New Year today. You know, it's a continuation of that effort which began to say, you know, we got to rebuild Chinatown. We need your help. Please support it by sponsoring the Dragon.
For the next performance this evening, we have Kyle Shin, a Chinese-Korean-American rapper, singer, and instrumentalist, whose performance was molded by a mixture of historical forces and present-day struggles in communities of color.
So I'm a rapper, but I also enjoy singing. This is an R&B song. It's kind of about saying sorry to your ex a little bit. I'm tired of running races, unlace my track spikes. The lanes of vinyl proves I never outgrew that past life. They told me shoot your shot, just let that pistol pop. I did it, now I'm truly haunted. Her good fate, if I'm a real smooth criminal, I'm guilty as charged. And if love is just a chemical, then why's it involved? Yeah, at times I find myself frozen, shocked to what's toying with women's emotions. Oceans are killed in my flood, we do. Yeah. I got a livid feeling, pitted in my stomach. I'll probably face the furnace on the day of judgment, cause my heart is biased from this urban violence. So I put 10,000 hours into vows of silence. It's what I had to do just to get through school. Black and white, the only colors in the photo shoot. I'm big stress, itching now my skin's red. Peeling us apart, we say it's just like Dr. King said. Sometimes I wonder if I walked another path, would I make this kind of music or be working for my dad? My family tried to raise me up but held me back when I was busting, no discussion. I was fearful of the blacks. I got plaques in my room and a chip on my shoulder. Got knocked on my butt, now I stand as a soldier. I'm falling.
From beat, but I say lunar, y'all say New Year, lunar, lunar. But I say black lives, y'all say matter, black lives, black lives. I wrote this album cause I want my life to change. Tired of being shortchanged, I'm trying to remain sane. Hopped off the plane, didn't stop all the pain. My father's still in debt and we've been struggling to pay. From a bedroom up on Mealand Ave, reach a bunch of sneak and have hands tied against the odds. How you gonna even that? People from the slums, ones not living the humdrum. Mama from the barriers who we dream we can stunt drums. Mama, I know it's gonna be 5 or rubber we go, cause we know your race is full of dream and be a hero. Was an ego to an equal, I free flow in a speedo. My pet dreams for people, my skin's so Filipino. Oftentimes my pride inside is fighting high tide. Here we broke the ocean was the day you learned to know stop. Closed eyes, fingerprint ink with the most I. Those times mama never blinked, say the old twice. I said mama we gon' make it there someday. I said mama we gon' make it there someday.
And looking around this auditorium, I know each of us has our own story to tell. Many of us come from a different background and culture, but the spirit of this evening's joint celebration is about sharing and appreciating this diversity. And next, I'd like to invite John McKnight to tell us about the San Francisco Human Rights Commission's Changing the Narrative art campaign.
Take a moment to just welcome you all. Thank you for coming tonight and making this a part of your evening. My name is John McKnight. I'm with the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, and tonight I have the privilege of sharing with you the awards, and more importantly, the art that was collected through the Changing the Narratives art campaign. This year's campaign had a single goal: to highlight our seniors. Seniors have been, fortunately, the target of many attacks in this city, and we wanted to make sure that there was a narrative told here that reflected the value of seniors, not just in their families, in their communities, but their extended families and all the lives they touch. Seniors in our Black and Asian communities share so much with the people around them, and the artwork we're going to show you tonight is going to reflect it. The artwork tells stories of people that live here, and the stories each have depth to them, and I'm grateful tonight to share it with you. But let me take a moment real quick to introduce our judges and bring them on up. Some of them are here tonight. I'm going to have them join us here up on stage. So let me please bring up Amelia and Adina of the Amelia and Adina Show, Dr. Carolyn Ransom Scott, founder of Black Investors Black Excellence Awareness Project, Diane Gray, Director, 100% College Prep Institute, John Henry, if you're here, John Henry, Executive Director of Both Sides of the Conversation, Kyle Shin, Son of Paper, who just performed for us, one of our judges, and of course, our city librarian, Michael Lambert. And Yiging Yu, if you're here from our San Francisco Commission on the Arts. And another piece of art, we are sitting with a family as they prepare their Lunar New Year dinner, and she tells a story of how they cook for hours and all the food they make, and you can see the energy in the room together. But one particular favorite of mine that we'll bring up, artist Michael Yu shared us this very simple picture of him, and he's an Asian man. He's now in college. He's in Southern California. He's not joining us tonight. But his picture of Miss Ella. Miss Ella is now an elderly Black woman, and he shares how she was the unofficial babysitter of every child in the building. I want to share some of his words with you. You won't forget Miss Ella because of her friendly smiles, her funny dance moves, silly knock-knock jokes, and most importantly, her kindness and the way she made everyone feel loved. When you read that and you see the picture, you can tell what's happening here. And I wonder if this young woman, this unsung hero of our city, who lived out in the Excelsior District, I wonder if she knows how many lives she's touched and how many children and grandchildren will somehow, if not just in the retelling those knockoff jokes, feel her presence throughout their lives. This was the heart of what our campaign brought to life, and when you go out, you'll be able to see some of the artwork posted on posters as well as on screens, and you can see some of the stories tied to it. So moving forward into the youth category, we wanted to honor the young people that were able to present this artwork, so let me please bring up Izzy Appleton, who I know is here. Izzy, come on up. Samantha Wall, are you here? You provided a community garden. And I want to honor Jason and Jonathan Toy, two young people who put together the African drum musician entertainment community and the adult water aerobics. Thank you all, and the youth who presented the art for us. Everybody on the stage, if you mind joining us up, and anyone's got a camera, would you get a picture of the fine people that took the time to put together not just the art but the stories, and give them one more round of applause. So I am going to bring up Claudine Chang, the ringleader of all of this here today. Claudine Chang is the president of the APA Heritage Foundation and is a member of our Stand Together San Francisco movement with the Human Rights Commission.
I do want to give a special shout out to Ryan Babbitt. Where's Ryan? Right here. Ryan Babbitt was the Booker T. Washington Community Service Center. Ryan was the artist that helped us put together the slideshow, the pre-programmed slideshow. Some of you might have missed it, but it's a phenomenal slideshow putting together pictures that were submitted by organizations in different neighborhoods in the city, showcasing again that our two communities do work together. Our two communities, unlike what sometimes you read in the newspapers, we do get along, we do have a good time, and we really love to those images that Ryan put together, so thank you very much. And of course, we have to thank our sponsors, because events like this do not happen without sponsors. Again, of course, the Public Library, Human Rights Commission, the APA Heritage Foundation, and I want to give a special shout out to Amazon. I mean, they have been really supportive of many events throughout the neighborhoods, this particular event. And you know, I don't know if some of you have been to the Asian and Black Cookout event a couple months ago that two great organizations, Asians Are Strong, and both sides of the conversation put together at the Trans Bay Terminal. That was a phenomenal event, and Amazon also supported it. Thank you so much. Now, let's get on with the amazing performances. So this evening is really about bringing our communities together, and we have found some very amazing San Francisco Bay Area local artists that they really were trying to showcase, and all their work is about is to bring people together through music, through poetry.
Kung Hei Fa Choi. Black History Matters. On behalf of Howard Wiley and myself, we want to thank you for having us. Earlier today, Mayor Breed had reflected on her experience at Galileo High School, that specifically the special assemblies, excuse me. So I want to offer this story. At the Stanton School, the first segregated black school in Jacksonville, Florida, they held an event, a special assembly, to celebrate the anniversary of Lincoln's birthday on February 12, 1900. James Weldon Johnson, who was one of the teachers there, composed a poem called Lift Every Voice and Sing, set to the music by his brother, J. Rosamond Johnson. Well, at the special assembly, 500 black students sang Lift Every Voice and Sing with passion and reverence. After the black students graduated from high school, they passed the song on to they became teachers, and they passed the song on to their students, and the song spread like wildfire across the South and other parts of the United States.
inviting us to participate in this amazing, amazing event.
Yes, it's really wonderful to be here and to see all of you. One of the things I want to imprint on your mind is that website, 2languages1community.com, because you can see more and hear more of what we do. An example of it is represented by this slide. This is a cover of a book, the first one we put together, called Catching Memory, because the pictures you see on there are of our two beautiful mothers. And when we first started working together, we looked for commonalities between our communities. What could be more common than your mothers, right? And but our poems address how the question and the issue of beauty.
So here, I just want to give you this moment of how a young child in China felt such deep connection to the black children she had never met. So this poem is called Cotton. All I could think of was little black hands picking, and then picking snow white cotton. When I was a child, learning about your people's fate on the other side of the ocean in a winter classroom with no heating, my country, red and deep in revolution, isolated from the world. I heard slavery, a term ancient and distant, re-denounced in the land where I sat with frozen toes, trembling with indignation and a yearning for justice, the original Shan, the pure goodness at the heart of a child. Revolution or not, red, black, or other. I had never met a child of another color. All I could think of was little black faces, smiling like blooming cotton flowers, bursting warmth in a summer harvest. All I could think of was little black hands giving warm white cotton away. Little black hands snatched away from hands of mama and grandma. Little black hands forever lost in the vast world. Little black hands forever reaching at a loss. Little black hands forever wiping tears, clear and salty, just like my own when I missed my mama. As I snuggled next to my grandmother under an ancient oil lamp, her hands roughened from cotton picking for the ism and the revolution, which we must all love and give everything to. Stitching and cushioning shoes night after night with a few handfuls of cottons rationed to her, and a long thread she spun with a wooden spindle, spinning since the beginning of time and memory to keep my feet warm. Little black hands, where was your cotton? Where was your thread? Where were your mama and grandma? I had never met a child of another color. When I learned your history as a child, all I could feel was your ocean of tears flooding into the yellow sea, rushing the shore 100 miles away. And I can still feel it today.
I was going to say, because I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to give recognition to our president of the chair of the Human Rights Commission, Karen Clopton. Thank you so much, Chair Clopton, for being here. But I don't want to steal Claudine's thunder, but I also wanted to recognize and acknowledge that Mayor Brown is here, and I do want to, even though he doesn't necessarily know it, I wanted to credit him because Martha Cohen had reached out, and I know that Martha worked with you as well, and I think learned the art of all the things of really celebrating community. So tonight, City Hall is lit up both in the City Hall is lit up with the Pan-African colors, and then the dome is lit up in gold and red in honor of Lunar New Year. So make sure that you take a picture of City Hall because it is representing the unity that we celebrated here.
This evening is priceless. The coming together of the cultures, the African American nation, the Asian nation, celebrating Lunar New Year and the African American month, which I call More Than a Month. I represent the Black Excellence, Black Inventors Project, the awareness of shining a bright light on the inventions of the African American nation to the world around us that has made life more comfortable, safer, and advancing technology and science. Coming to this event, celebrating life together and the new year has been just remarkable. It's been an experience of listening to one another, the stories of our history, the stories of our journey.
So tonight's celebration is really about bringing communities together to change the narratives that the Asian and the Black communities don't mix or don't work together. I think the performances tonight show that our communities are working together, and amazing performing artists that they, their mission is to bring communities together through art, through music, through poetry, and I think it's a great beginning.
Tonight, we saw San Francisco come alive. We had not only leaders from around the city, some of our supervisors, Mayor Willie Brown. We also had representatives from the Sheriff's Department, many department heads, but more importantly, community leaders from around the city. We saw the face of San Francisco tonight. Everybody seemed to know each other, and those they didn't know, they got a chance to meet, and it was a very special evening to be a part of this town.
Another person blessed, that's what we do, continue to bless the people.